I saw you slip that in the bag. You didn't pay for those shoes.
Sir, I paid for this. You can check the camera.
Don't play games with me. Hand it over.
I have my receipt right here and my card. Why are you talking to me like that?
He didn't steal anything.
What's going on?
All I did was buy the shoes, man.
You
All
need to
right,
empty
that's
that
enough.
bag.
Let's step back, both of you.
Comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It started like any normal Saturday afternoon at Brookdale Mall, one of those places filled with families, music playing softly from overhead speakers, and the smell of pretzels from the food court. 17-year-old Jayden Carter had come there with his best friend Malik to pick up a pair of sneakers he'd been saving for. Jayden worked part-time after school, doing small shifts at a car wash to help his mom. That weekend, he finally had enough to buy the sneakers he'd wanted for months. They walked into Prime Step Footwear, laughing and joking the way teenagers do. Jayden wore a clean hoodie, jeans, and white sneakers, nothing flashy. He grabbed the shoes he wanted, checked the price, and started walking toward the counter. That's when the store manager, a tall white man in his mid-40s named Mr. Grayson, noticed them. From the moment Jayden walked in, Grayson's eyes followed him. He didn't look at the other customers, just at Jayden. His face tightened. Jayden didn't notice at first, but Malik did. "Yo, that dude's watching you, bro," Malik whispered. Jayden shrugged. "It's whatever, man. I'm just buying shoes." But the tension was already brewing. Jayden reached the counter, pulled out his wallet, and handed over his card. As the cashier started scanning, Grayson suddenly stepped in front of the register, blocking the view. "Hold up," Grayson said sharply. "Empty your pockets." Jayden froze. "What?" "You heard me," the manager said, his tone cold. "We've had a lot of theft in this store. You've been wandering around too long. Let's see what you've got in your pockets." The cashier looked uncomfortable. Malik's eyes widened. "Sir," Jayden said calmly, "I didn't take anything. I came to buy these shoes. I paid for them." "Don't lie to me," Grayson snapped. "You think I don't see what you're doing? You people always try this." The entire store went silent. A mother in the back looked away awkwardly. Two teenagers recording TikTok stopped and turned. Jayden's hand shook slightly, but he stood tall. "Sir, you need to stop. I didn't steal anything. Check the cameras if you want." But Grayson was already pulling his phone out, saying, "Fine, we'll let mall security handle this. Stay right there." A few people started whispering. Malik muttered, "This is crazy, man." He didn't do anything. Jayden sighed deeply, his voice steady. "Go ahead. Call them. I've got time." The air in the store was thick, the kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound louder. Minutes later, two mall security officers walked in. Grayson wasted no time. "That's him." He was trying to walk out without paying. The officers looked at Jayden, then at the register, where the receipt was still printing. One of the guards, Officer Ramirez, frowned. "Sir, this looks like a purchase in progress." Grayson stammered. I saw him put something in his pocket." Jayden turned slowly toward him. "You mean this?" He reached into his hoodie and pulled out a folded receipt from another store, the food court. The entire store went dead quiet again. Ramirez crossed his arms. "Looks like he's got nothing but a receipt and a wallet, sir. You might have jumped to conclusions." Grayson's face turned red. He was acting suspicious. Malik pulled out his phone and whispered, "Don't worry, bro. I got the whole thing recorded." Jayden looked at the camera and smiled faintly, not with joy, but with quiet strength. Grayson had no idea yet, but that recording was about to change everything. The mall felt colder after the shouting stopped. The tension still hung in the air like thick smoke. Mr. Grayson stood there, breathing hard, his face pale now. Jayden was quiet, holding his receipt in one hand, his card in the other. Security Officer Ramirez turned to Grayson. "Sir, you owe this young man an apology," he said firmly. Grayson blinked fast. I was just doing my job." "No," Ramirez said. "You profiled him. That's not your job." A few shoppers started clapping quietly. Someone in the back said, "About time someone said it." Jayden didn't speak. He just grabbed his box of sneakers and turned toward the door. Malik followed, phone still recording. Outside the store, Malik said, "Man, that was wild. I'm posting this." Jaylen sighed. "Nah, bro, don't post it. It's not worth it." Malik raised an eyebrow. "You serious? He embarrassed you in front of everyone. People need to see this." Jaylen hesitated. He wanted peace, not drama. But he also knew if he stayed quiet, it would just happen again to someone else. So he nodded. "All right, post it." That night, Malik uploaded the video with a short caption. "Manager at Brookdale Mall accuses my friend of stealing, while he's literally paying for the shoes. SMH. Within hours, the video exploded. By morning, it had over 500,000 views. By noon, it hit 2 million. People flooded the comments. That poor kid handled it like a king. The manager needs to be fired immediately. He's calm, respectful, and still gets treated like a criminal. News outlets started calling. Reporters showed up at the mall. And by the afternoon, Prime Step Footwear had released a statement saying, "We are aware of the viral incident involving our employee. We do not tolerate racial discrimination. The manager in question has been suspended pending investigation." But it didn't stop there. Someone in the comments wrote, "Wait, isn't that Jayden Carter, the scholarship student from Jefferson High? The one who's joining the Navy next month?" And just like that, the story hit even harder. Clips of Jaylen's calm reaction were being shared on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. People were saying, "That's discipline. That's respect. That's grace under pressure." Meanwhile, Mr. Grayson tried to delete his social media accounts. But it was too late. His name was everywhere. Jaylen got calls from journalists asking for interviews. He turned them all down. He didn't want fame. He just wanted fairness. That afternoon, as he and Malik walked back into the mall to exchange the shoes for a different size, a group of strangers stopped them. "Hey, you're the kid from the video, right?" one woman said. "We saw what happened. That was wrong. We're proud of you." Jaylen smiled shyly. "Thanks, ma'am. I just didn't want to lose my cool." She nodded. "You did more than that. You showed the world what grace looks like." Meanwhile, inside the store, things were changing fast. The regional manager had flown in. Grayson's face was pale, hands shaking as he tried to explain. I didn't mean to racially profile anyone," he stammered. But the manager just looked at him and said, "You embarrassed this company and humiliated an innocent young man. Pack your things." Security escorted Grayson out to the same door where he had once accused Jaylen. Karma served instantly. And yet, the story wasn't done, because later that week, Jaylen received a letter that would take his breath away. The letter sat on Jaylen's desk for almost an hour before he opened it. It was from the U.S. Navy recruitment office. He took a deep breath, peeled the envelope open, and read the first line. "Dear Mr. Jayden Carter, we reviewed your recent act of professionalism under public pressure." His eyes widened. He kept reading. "And we're honored to inform you that your early enlistment has been approved, with a full sponsorship and commendation for conduct." Jaylen froze. He read the words again, just to make sure. They had seen the video. Someone from the Navy had watched how calm, respectful, and disciplined he was, even when he was being humiliated, and they decided he was exactly the kind of person they wanted. When he told his mom, she cried, not from sadness, but from pride. "You kept your dignity, baby," she said, hugging him tight. "That man tried to take it, and you didn't let him." Jaylen smiled faintly. "I just wanted to buy shoes." She laughed through her tears. "And you walked out with a blessing instead." A few days later, Jaylen agreed to meet a local news crew, not for fame, but to thank everyone who had supported him. The interviewer, a kind woman named Lisa Graham, asked, "What went through your mind when that manager accused you?" Jaylen looked straight into the camera and said quietly, "I just thought if I react with anger, I lose twice. So I stayed calm. I knew the truth would speak louder." That clip alone went viral again. People everywhere were calling him the calmest man in America. Celebrities reposted his story with messages like, "Respect is stronger than hate. Real power is staying composed." Meanwhile, the old manager, Mr. Grayson, disappeared from public view. But one day, weeks later, Jaylen saw him again, outside the same mall. Grayson looked tired, older somehow. He approached slowly. "Jaylen," he said quietly, "I came to say sorry. I was wrong. I let my own prejudice speak before my reason. You didn't deserve that." Jaylen looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "I forgive you," he said simply. "Just don't ever do it to anyone else." Grayson's eyes welled up. He nodded and walked away. Malik, who had been standing nearby, whispered, "Bro, you're way too good for this world." Jaylen smiled. "Maybe, but that's how the world changes, one choice at a time." Later that summer, on a bright morning at the naval base, Jaylen stood tall in his uniform. Reporters watched from the gate. His mom waved proudly, tears in her eyes. As he raised his hand and saluted for the first time, a cool wind blew across the flag. From a shoe store argument to standing as a United States Navy officer. That was his story, and the world had witnessed it all. Tell me where you're watching from. Would you have stayed calm like Jaylen did? Don't forget to subscribe, and share this story to remind the world. Respect always wins.